Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here, and we're back with our weekly update / Q&A. So as always, we'll start with the update, Immortals, and we'll just jump right into it. So in WWE Immortals, the online challenge is Annual Batista. So this is a repeat, and this will be the first chance, unless you're in the top 3?
No, number 1.
Number 1 to actually get him maxed out. And the current character challenge is Warrior Queen Stephanie McMahon, which is also a repeat. And there's only a day left, so it's basically over. In Mortal Kombat X, the current Faction Wars is just a regular season. The current character challenge is Revenant Kung Lao, just over a week to get him. And there's an early access pack for Dark Empress Kitana.
And she's pretty interesting. She's got a really cool passive where she can, if the first person she knocks out in a battle, she can enslave them, and so you get to use that character to fight on your team. They don't start off with full health. It's something like maybe a third, and you can't build more than 1 bar of power.
And they don't have
They're
passive
right.
or gear. But still, it's a body, and it's cool.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, in Injustice, the current online season is a regular season, and the current challenge is for Justice League Wonder Woman. She's pretty interesting.
Highest damage stats.
Yeah, and her ability means that it's for people who really like playing special games, right? Especially if you buff her Special 1 a lot, it'll be pretty easy to keep her team with energy.
Right, so each bar of power she uses gives her Justice League team members a half bar of power. So you do Special 1, everybody gets half bar. You do Special 2, everybody gets 1 bar. You do Special 3, everybody gets 1.5 bars.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll move into our Q&A portion of the video. Our first question comes from Emma Swan, and she says, do you know if there's a glitch with Cassandra Cain Batgirl? Her stats say that she has 45,000 damage, and I have the same gears maxed out as your Batgirl. When I do her first special, the area damage reports back to me as 11,000. She does not, however, have crit chance or crit damage augmented.
Alright, so just a bit of background. One is, we've already answered this question in the comments, but I think a lot of the answer bears repeating. Plus, it's our Batgirl setup that has Cloak of Destiny, plus the LexCorp Gauntlets, plus the League of Assassins Adept Knives. So, as long as we're comparing critical hits to critical hits, the reason is that Cassandra Cain Batgirl's Special 1 is multi-hit. And I'm not just talking about the first hit that can stun, which both Batgirls have. So technically they're both multi-hits, but Batgirl Prime has a Special 1 follow-up that is 1 big hit, and Cassandra Cain Batgirl's follow-up is 3 hits. So because she's doing so much damage on each of the 3 hits, the first hit typically knocks out the first opponent, and the second and third hits miss. And you only get splash damage from what hits. So that's why you'll sometimes get 23,000 instead of 11,000 splash damage if your first opponent has high enough health that it takes 2 hits to knock him or her out. So in the setup where you're trying to take advantage of Special 1 splash damage, Batgirl Prime can be much better despite having lower damage stat and lower stated Special 1 damage, because Prime Special 1 has 1 big hit. You get the full benefit of her splash damage. Now, a couple of exceptions, right? So if you've got somebody who's got a complete 4th World gear set and revives, Cassandra Cain Batgirl is better.
Yeah, if you have Containment Suit Doomsday, Cassandra Cain Batgirl is potentially way better because she can take out like 3, right?
Right. And then you still get the full benefit of the splash damage.
Yeah.
That's why I love seeing, actually, even with Batgirl Prime, I love seeing somebody with 4th World gear in the slot where I'm going to smack them.
Because if you splash damage them multiple times, everybody else is just totally out of it.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from Loh Yixuan, and he says, what are your favorite books? I'm always using my phone. I really want to read it.
So, if just in case you haven't been watching our other videos, we almost always make a recommendation at the end of our unboxing videos. If we scale back on the unboxings. We might be doing some recommendations at some of these weekly Q&As. But to answer your question first, some books are... Oh, I sort of missed the point. So our recommendations, we often have books, and that's a good opportunity to hear about the stuff we like, but it's worth answering your question now just to give you a few things to go on. But if you want to see some of our recommendations already, we've got them at the end of those recommendation videos. Or book recommendations at the end of our unboxing videos. Blah.
For clarity, yeah.
Long day. The part of the reason why we're delayed is because of exams, so it's going to be a bit of a hectic kind of weekend a bit. All right, so the answer really is that some books are just plain great, whatever the circumstance, and some books are not only plain great, but they're great for the stage of life. So what that means is that you're the perfect stage of your life to read what the book is saying. And I saw this really great term. Somebody was talking about it in terms of the original Star Wars, about when it came out, and they said that they were as ready as a baby duckling to imprint on it. And that captured it perfectly, because this can happen with books too, if you're open to the sort of experience. And I guess maybe we'll actually feature some of these books in a future recommendation and go into more detail about why they're great. But
yeah.
I can give you a list of a few things that I really love, but in no particular order. Sleeping in Flame by Jonathan Carroll. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And I think I love it the most because that was the first of his books that I read, because all of his books have that kind of strange sort of magic realism thing to it.
Yeah.
You want to have a go? What's one of your favorite books?
Boy's Life. Who wrote that?
Oh, Robert McCammon!
That's so good. It's like coming of age, like mystery novel, and there's kind of like childhood magic stuff where it doesn't feel kind of like magic, but it obviously is from the way that like just what's going on, right?
Right.
It just feels all part of kind of like the rose tinted glasses that he's looking at his childhood with, but it's really, really good.
Oh, I love that book.
Yeah. I think we might have recommended that already.
We did in one of our previous
totally,
unboxings.
Yeah.
Phases of Gravity by Dan Simmons. I know he's written a lot of other really great books like Hyperion, Carrying Comfort, Song of Kelly, but Phases of Gravity was my favorite for a lot of different reasons, and I don't know that it's worth getting into now because I think I want to feature it in one of our other videos.
Yeah, we've said it a bunch of times. We've said it recently. I'll say it again. Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss.
Oh, so good!
And the entire King Killer Chronicles series. Just wonderful books. More than enough to read, but they're like compulsively readable. You get through them fast. There's the 1,700 pages is not enough space.
Okay. You know what? This is a great question. We're definitely going to do more of these in future videos, whether it's the end of our unboxings as part of our recommendations, like a mix of old and new books, and whether maybe we'll do something some more at the end of these Q&As. Thank you for asking. Our most recent January 2016 Sci-Fi Block unboxing has a recommendation for our favorite webcomic, Max Over Axe, that has been so far compiled in one actual volume, with the next volume planned for sometime this year. And so technically it is a book. We highly recommend it. If you like it, any business you send Conan Grall's way will improve our chances of seeing more of Max Over Axe. So the link is in the description to his webcomic. You can read it for free. And if you enjoy it, you can buy the book. You can send a few bucks his way. He's got a PayPal donation link, but please do. It is absolutely favorite webcomic, bar none.
One last one. Lions Valor Sam by Guy Gavriel K. And there's, what's it called? Bridge Under Stars? Something. What's the name?
River of Stars.
River of Stars. Basically, every Guy Gavriel K book that I've read, and probably most, if not all, the ones that I haven't read have all been really good. So that's more of an author recommendation, I guess. But definitely, Lions Valor Sand is a really good read.
Yeah.
Challenging almost with the number of names, right? He makes it sound almost like a history, right? The way that it's read, but like with actually the quality content that comes from really good storytelling.
Yeah, definitely want to get into that more.
Okay, so our next question comes from Rathore, and he says, if you've got time, could you do a video about augmenting and the augments you put on characters you have? You may have already done this. If so, then ignore.
We definitely haven't done it. But a video and augmenting would be a bigger project than for one video. It would be like making one video to talk about all the gears. But sort of to answer your question, as far as what we've done now, health augmentations have mainly gone on guys we use on defense, and none of them have been maxed out. Damage augmentations have gone on Ares and Arkham Origins Deathstroke. So Arkham Origins Deathstroke now is maxed out, but Ares still is not, and Ares is our sort of workhorse guy in both Survivor now and multiplayer. Critical Chance has gone on Ares, who's maxed out on that. Batgirl, who's maxed out. And also Bronze Flash at 20% and Bronze Nightwing at 10%. We've got Critical Damage Boost on Ares maxed out, and again on Batgirl maxed out, because those are our two main do-everything characters. And Bronze Flash and Bronze Nightwing, and they each have about somewhere like actually 20 to 50% each. So somewhere around there, not maxed out for sure, but enough to make a significant difference. So we still strongly believe the more we play, the more it's reinforced that Critical Chance and Critical Damage Boost augmentations are the most important augmentations. At least they will be until there are more methods for negating critical damage besides Red Sun Green Lantern. Because I know that in Mortal Kombat they've actually got equipment that will decrease crit chance. So we started putting the critical augmentations on the guys we use the most. And we originally thought our bronze guys would be the most important for farming Survivor for last laugh tickets.
But we've kind of changed our mind because it seems like the same principle of strike fast, strike hard, win like ASAP still applies to Survivor just because it saves so much time.
But that's only true, so the bronze guys were important for that because they were still well matched, right?
Yeah.
So that wasn't the problem, it's that if your only goal is to get as far as you can, then yes, keep on using the bronze guys. But as we play Survivor more, the more obvious it is that getting to Fight 9 as quickly as possible is the best use of our time. So we've stopped augmenting our bronzes and have focused our attention on the one main team for both MP and Survivor, and our main team is basically Ares and Batgirl. The third slot is sort of up in the air a bit. We don't have any single character with all maxed out stats, and that's because it doesn't seem necessary. If we can win epic battles consistently and get through Survivor quickly, there's really no point in maxing out stats that may have an effect on your matchups. So, for example, Killing Joke Joker has no augmentations, even though we've been playing him on our MP team, but there's no need for it because the MP team wins. And Arkham Origins Deathstroke is getting damage augmentations because he's fun to play with. He's already powerful, and we're getting the most bang for our buck because his passive gives him a 56% boost to his base damage. As another example, Mortal Kombat X Scorpion would have the same equivalent passive for the health. So if you want to get the most bang for your buck in terms of getting using health augmentations, he would be the version for that.
Yeah, it would just make the fights take longer.
Yeah,
maybe defense.
So at this point, we're still not in a rush to spend all our other augmentations because it's a whole idea of opportunity cost, and it really applies here more than in other situations, since major augmentations are so hard to get. We're waiting to see if there's another character that will benefit the most from it. At this point, the next likeliest candidate is Lucador Bane, but we haven't decided yet because with opportunity costs, we just don't want to realize that there's somebody else we want to put it on and then think, crap, we got to spend how many hours in Survivor again earning all those augmentations, right?
Yeah, so here's the next one. The next couple are kind of all in the same vein. So Cole Gilmore says, are you both brothers? Henry Stark says, are you guys like brothers or something? And then Henry Stark says, a little while later, how old are you guys?
Okay, so you guys aren't the first, and you probably won't be the last to ask about personal details, and we've addressed this kind of question before. The short answer is that we're keeping any identifying information off our channel so that if we screw up really big, we won't have it following us for the rest of our lives. But you know what's funny that occurs to me after seeing this question again recently? It's that it's surprising for the number of people that are really interested in our personal details and face reveals. The one video where I'm actually right smack dab in the middle of it still only has 435 views after being up for more than 2 years, like May 2013. And I'm not talking about the 1 million views video, but there's a pull-up video that if anyone's interested, where that's it. This was before we started doing all our video gaming stuff, but it's there. And it's funny, like for all the people that really seem to want to know, they're not watching it.
I guess it's just more of the question itself.
Yeah, I guess so.
The next question comes from Rodolfo Moreino, and he says, "Hey guys, I do enjoy your videos quite well, and I look forward to seeing more in the future. But I have a quick question for you guys. By chance, is there any new glitches if you found for an Injustice the new version? And another question, what do you guys think about the hacking aspect on an Injustice? I'm just very curious and want to make the best choice and decision for myself."
Okay, so hacking versus cheating is a really complicated question, and I meant to write down a few things because there's so many things going on in my head about what the difference is, but the biggest difference for us is there's the principle and I guess the risk. Glitches definitely are cheating. Cheating is a whole group that includes glitches and hacks, but hacks are fundamentally different because what you're doing is you're manipulating the code of the game and you run more risks. Because typically most people don't have the hacking skills. You'll need another tool to mess with the code. It risks breaking the game and getting you banned. And if you don't have the expertise, you're basically sharing your account information with somebody you don't know who has the expertise, who's going to be messing around with the account. And if you have to trust them not to do anything stupid with your account. Glitches have the same risk, right? As far as doing something you don't expect and damaging your account. But it's stuff that you can do on your own. It's something that's available to everybody. And if you're careful like we are, we've been doing glitches for, more than 2 years.
Yeah.
And we haven't run into trouble with them.
And one thing which I like about glitches, which is totally separate from the moral ambiguity of actually doing them, is it lets you learn a little bit more about the way that the game was actually built.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which is really cool. That's one of the things that actually I find really, really interesting in games, and I like looking into that kind of thing with my limited knowledge of it, but you really kind of get an idea of how they build it. Like, when the buttons load, all that stuff, all that gives you kind of an idea of how it's structured, and it's the inner workings of it without actually going straight down to the source code, right?
Yeah, you're testing the limits of it.
And it's cool, which is why you get, like, in games like Mario Kart or whatever, or especially old games, right? You get a lot of speed runs where there are actually communities based around finding these glitches and exploits and learning them in a reproducible manner, and I just think that's actually really cool. So I like that kind of idea of the learning from them in the community of glitching, even if morally that doesn't actually answer the question at all.
That's a great answer. I love that. And that's a great question. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So our next question comes from Paulo Vazquez, and he says, "BDCR Gaming, you deserve more subscribers." Okay, technically this isn't a question, but we wanted to include it, and in this case I think we could make an exception.
Yeah, first, thanks for the compliment. Thanks so much. But it sort of hints at something else, right? Because subscribers as a unit of currency, right? The longer we do this, the more we realize that we've pretty much reached the limit in terms of YouTube success as it's measured by ad revenue, which is for which subscribers is a bit of a proxy, right? So there's views, there's subscribers will affect the value you get per view, and it's the views that actually matter.
Yeah.
And that's really, it's the ad revenue is the main reason why subscribers matter.
And it's also, it is a little bit for that kind of thing where it's a kind of shorthand for saying something nice, like I like your channel.
Yeah.
But to everybody, subscribing means something different. Like, I almost never subscribe. My subscription really matters. If I'm subscribed to you, it means that, like, I as soon as your new video comes out, I want to watch it right away. Right. And to some people, it's like, ooh, these guys had one interesting video. Subscribing supports them, so I guess I'll just click it for them, right?
Yeah. In our last Q&A, we talked pretty openly about the kind of money we're making from this channel. And given the time that we're putting into this, the relatively small pool of mobile gamers playing Injustice Immortals and Mortal Kombat, and looking at other YouTubers who spend way more time producing content, we realized that we'd have to invest a huge amount of time to get any further. I mean, think about it. When the hugely successful Green brothers, John and Hank Green...
Those guys are cool.
Yeah, also known as the Vlog brothers, are running a loss when you look just at ad revenue versus production costs. We're happy with the small modicum of success that we've had. I think the numbers he quoted were that they've made about $2 million in ad revenue doing what they're doing, but that they've spent about $4 million making the videos. It sort of makes it a lot more obvious and clear why their merchandising stuff is so much more important as far as generating money for them.
Yeah, and it kind of shows you their commitment to the community of it, right?
Yeah.
It's the idea that it leads to other things that they can do and other opportunities for them to make money.
Right. So that's why we're also consciously focusing on and encouraging our viewers to support the non-gaming part of our channel, the unboxing and recommendation videos. So getting advanced review copies of books may not seem like a lot, and it's not money-wise, right?
But to us, there's kind of a value there that almost transcends the worth of the book.
Right, no, it gives us more joy, right? And it's the joy that keeps us YouTubing.
Yeah.
And that's why we want to, when we see another creator that we love, like Conan Grawl and Max Overax, we want to make sure that, both for his sake and for yours, that you get a chance to find his comic or whatever it is that we're recommending, because the real problem, I think, with a lot of good content, whatever media it's in, is that it doesn't reach the audience that it deserves, and that hurts both the creator and the audience misses out. The potential audience misses out. Sorry, we weren't paying attention to the video. It cut off because our camera limits at 20 minutes. We got a little carried away, but we're gonna maybe finish up with the question that we didn't quite finish with on our next Q&A, because it was definitely interesting. Like, that's
yeah, we got a discussion going, so we hope you guys will like it. Komoda.